Today, we take a deep dive down on our NFC North rivals, starting with the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, I've been wanting this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Okay. Hey. Yeah. Ain't no errors, baby, it's a new era. I wake up early feeling rich like I'm cash.
Welcome in another episode of Sounds Gouda. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am one of your two co-hosts. My name is Rob Ralph. Jordan Olson could not be here again today. I promise you all, he is not dead. He is fine. He should be back on the next episode, but he does wish you all very well. So just know that we do have new content every Wednesday and Saturday on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. So please make sure to be able to give us a like, sub, and follow us on those platforms. We are trying to get to 600 subscribers, so anything you can do to help us get there on YouTube specifically would be greatly appreciated. Maybe you've been a long-time listener and you just haven't subbed yet. It would help out the show quite a bit. So, as I alluded to, we are taking an NFC North deep dive. On this one, we are going to be taking a look at the Detroit Lions, the reigning NFC North champions last year at 15-2, had a pretty amazing record, and for a lot of standards and metrics, were probably one of the best, if not the best, football teams. I know what happened in the playoffs. It was glorious to see them getting beat by the Commanders after a bye and getting rested up, but throughout the regular season, they were definitely dominant, and they showed that, and I think without little doubt that they're probably going to be that same way again this year too. So let's head over to some of the free agency signings for what they did. DJ Reed, cornerback, signed to a 3-year deal worth $48 million. They ended up getting Derek Barnes, the linebacker, signed a 3-year deal again worth $25.5 million. Then ended up getting Marcus Davenport, one of my old draft crushes that I loved in that draft. Signed to a 1-year deal worth $2.5 million. So who they ended up losing, though, Kevin Zeitler, the guard, I believe, to the Titans. Cornerback Carlton Davis to the Patriots. And then the infamous NFC North Revenge Tour man himself, Zadarius Smith, was released by them this offseason as well. So some solid free agency signings. And the one that I really liked the most was cornerback DJ Reed. A little bit overpaid for him, $48 million 3-year, in my opinion, but I still think he's a solid cornerback and will do pretty good for him this year. So let's move on to the draft for them. Who did they end up getting? Did they end up getting better? Did they not? Tyleik Williams, the defensive tackle, was their first round pick, 28th overall from Ohio State. A lot of draft experts thought that was quite a reach, but if you know anything like Brad Holmes, like Brian Gutekunst, like some other GMs, they do have their reaches, right? But they stand true to the players that really falls best on their board, not how the consensus has it. Tyleik Williams for them in the first round. Second round, they got Tate Ratledge, the guard out of Georgia. Pretty solid pick, and I think that he should be a pretty good guard. Isaac Tisla, wide receiver out of Arkansas. I think that he should be a pretty good wide receiver for them. A pretty good value there to get him in the third round. Miles Frazier in the fifth round, 171 overall. The guard, got him from LSU. In the sixth round, Ahmad Hassanin, the edge out of Boise State. Rounding that out in the seventh round, 2 7th-round picks, Dan Jackson, 230th overall from Georgia, and then Dominic Lovett, a wide receiver again, too, out of Georgia, 244th overall pick. So, one strength of schedule. Most games versus winning teams, they will play 12 games against teams that finish with a winning record in 2024. It's going to be a gauntlet for them to be able to prove again that they can hit that 15-2 mark. Many playoff opponents. The Lions will also face 11 teams that made the playoffs in 2024. They're tied with the Philadelphia Eagles, for the most. They also have a very difficult road schedule. They'll have games, obviously, against the Packers, the Bears, the Vikings, but also the Ravens, Bagels, Chiefs, Commanders, Eagles. So it's going to be, again, too, it's going to be quite the road for them to be able to get a winning record again. Primetime and showcase games, too. The Lions have 5 primetime games that feature several showcase matchups. Coaches, let's just talk about a little bit about that kind of narrative for this year. Obviously, they lost Ben Johnson to the Bears head coaching vacancy position. I think that will be a big loss for them. He was replaced by John Morton. If you're not familiar with John Morton, he is the passing game coordinator for the Broncos since 2023 and was a Lions senior assistant in 2022. So does have some experience there with the Lions. And then obviously they lost defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn to the Jets head coaching vacancy. And he was replaced by Kelvin Shepard, who was the Lions linebacker coach since 21. So definitely has experience with Aaron Glenn in that system. And I'm pretty sure they'll pick up where Aaron Glenn left off. I think where you'll end up seeing a little bit more of that hurt is possibly with the new offensive coordinator and John Morton. But we shall see. I know Dan Campbell is a very good head coach. He'll make sure that that whole team has got a plan and that they'll be ready to execute that. Where I don't think that they'll get to 15-2 again, because I think that's just, those years are very outlier and they don't happen consistently. They'll probably regress by a couple games, but we shall see what my record prediction will be after this. So let's just go into the Detroit Lions for some of the players in the PFF grade who ended up grading really well for them last year. You know, Jahmyr Gibbs is leading that pack at a 90.1 PFF grade, 6 out of 59 running backs. Penei Sewell, that the right tackle, the All-Pro, 3rd of 81 with an 89.6 grade. Amon-Ra St. Brown, obviously the gadget slot wide receiver with 89.3 grade for PFF. Frank Ragnow, the center, one of the best centers in the game, 86.1. David Montgomery, 10th of 59 out of 59 running backs, but he throughout the year got an 85.9. Jared Goff, pretty decent year, better than I believe the year previous. You could all correct me if I'm wrong on that, but 78.8 PFF grade. Then Taylor Decker rounds that out. So let's head over to the defense. Obviously, Aidan Hutchinson got injured, so he'll be back this year. He's going to be a absolute train wreck. For the games that he was in, he did lead the Lions PFF grades at 94.9. He's going to be one of the best edge players this next year. And will be very difficult to stop. Kirby Joseph, our favorite Lions safety, 90.4 grade. He was first out of 98 safeties. Brian Branch, cornerback safety, kind of hybrid slot player, ended up being 5th of 98 for cornerbacks, is what it says on here. So 83.7. Ali McNeil, stud defensive lineman, 9th out of 118 defensive linemen. And then you round it out with a really couple good linebacker players here. Jack Campbell and Malcolm Rodriguez, 10th and 17th out of 84, respectively, with a 78.7 and a 74.4 grade. So there is no doubt in my mind that they are returning an absolute bevy of talent on this team. And they added some good additions. They draft pretty well. Brad Holmes is an excellent GM. Dan Campbell's obviously a very good coach. I think he's shown that pretty consistently since he's been with that team. So it'll just really, to me, it just comes down to the coaching. How much of a loss is Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson going to be for this team? But I have brought it up. I'm not going to share it on my screen. So audio listeners, you don't have to fret. But week 1, they do head to the Packers, and I have that as a loss for them. Shameless plug, we did this for the Green Bay Packers a couple episodes ago, so make sure to check that out of what both Jordan and I gave the Packers for a record prediction for this year. Week 2 at home, I think they ended up taking this one against the Bears, so I'm going to give them a win there. Week 3, I think that they end up losing that one to the Ravens. I do think that they bounce back. Week 4, home against the Browns. I don't know with the Browns. I think the Browns just stink unless somehow they find a quarterback. I'm going to go ahead and say that they go on the road then too and beat the Bengals, so I'll give them a win there. I'll say that they lose in week 6 against the Chiefs, but then they bounce back week 7 and win at home against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Week 8, they got a nice bye week, basically smack dab in the middle almost. So that'll be nice for them. Then they end up coming back and they play the Vikings. I think that they beat the Vikings again too. My biggest question for the Vikings is they also have a very talented team, but what are they going to get in JJ McCarthy this year? If JJ McCarthy is good, the Vikings will be good. If McCarthy is bad or subpar, that's exactly what they will be, in my opinion. But then they go to the Commanders in Week 10. I think that they end up getting a loss there. I think in Week 11 they go to the Eagles. They get a win there. 12. They are back at home against the Giants. They get a win there. I just don't see how the Giants are going to be good this year. Maybe they surprise me with Jackson Dart, Abdul Carter. Well, I'm pretty excited to see how he does this year. And then I think that they stay at home. This is the Thursday Thanksgiving game. I think that they end up winning that. That puts them at 8 wins already. Again, they are back home. I say they have a loss to the Cowboys at home and then go to the Rams on the road, and they win that one in Week 15. And then Week 16, they end up beating the Steelers. This is me assuming that Aaron Rodgers is not going to be with the Steelers, but even if he was, I don't think I would give them the Steelers a win anyways. And then I think they rounded out in Week 17 with a win against the Vikings, and then they head in hot also as well into the playoffs. And I think they do right in this momentum with another Week 18 win away at Chicago, which for me gives them a 12-5 record on the year and a -3 game differential from what they had for last year at 15-2. So let me know what you guys think about this. A little bit of a shorter episode, but wanted to dive deep into some of these other NFC North to start out with, and we'll see. We might do some of these other ones on the schedule too, like the Ravens, Commanders, Bengals, etc. I think that these are pretty fun to take a look at. You know what else you have in these other teams that the Packers will be facing this year and how they've done here the last couple years, or recently too as well. So Packers fans, let me know what you think. Where did you think I got wrong? What do you think that I got wrong or right about the Detroit Lions? If there's any Lions fans listening, let me know. Am I spot on at something or am I not? I do have some family, some very, very close family that are diehard Lions fans. I know that Jordan's wife, Abby, and their family are diehard Lions fans. We love you guys, and appreciate you guys listening. And it'll be interesting to see for this year too. You guys got a really good team. So, but that is it, Packers fans, for me today. As always, if you have anything, let us know in the comments below. We generally appreciate it. We do have new content every Wednesday and Saturday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube as well. So yeah, make sure to give us a like, sub, and follow us on those platforms. And as always, Packers fans, we hope that you have a Gouda morning, a Gouda afternoon, and a Gouda night. Take care. Go Pack Go.
This shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Okay. Hey.